This is Flip Junkie Podcast, episode 49. Welcome to the Flipping Junkie Podcast. My name is Danny Johnson, former software developer turned house flipper, flipping hundreds of houses. Each week we bring you interviews, strategies, stories, and motivation to help you get started flipping houses and on your way to becoming your own boss and achieving financial freedom. Thanks for spending time with me today. Now let's get to it. Today I've got a good friend in San Antonio that I've known for years. It's an expert house flipper. His name is Erik Sangerhausen. He was on episode 27. You may have heard him then, where we talked about finding and working with the right contractors. Erik really knows his stuff, and if you enjoyed this episode and you didn't hear episode 27, be sure to go back and check that one out. That's you can find the show notes page and listening to that podcast at FlippingJunkie.com/27. FlippingJunkie.com/27. Show notes for this episode that we're recording today will be found at FlippingJunkie.com/49. And that's episode 49 now. We've almost got a whole year of these episodes. And just a little bit about Erik before we get started is he's been spending over 6 years of developing and building owner finance real estate investment company. Starting from scratch, he figured out the best way to create and sell real estate notes. And he currently flips 75 plus houses and notes a year, and they're shooting for 100. And last time I talked to him, they're pretty much on track for that. So that's awesome. He's been in real estate for over 15 years. He's done a little bit of every kind of investing, and his passion is really in creating real estate notes. He told me because it basically affects the most people. He's helping the seller by buying their house, the neighborhood by rehabbing that house, and the end buyer by offering owner financing so that they can own a house where they might not be able to due to damaged credit or other things. So it's awesome. He's got a great business set up, and we also did talk with his business partner Mike Arch on another episode as well. So be sure to look for that one in the Flip Junkie podcast. Just a quick note before we get started also is that we're doing more to share information about our own house flipping business, Melissa and myself, and Grayson on our team. But we've, I was thinking we do a lot of the podcasts. We share information about how to flip houses. We're doing the software for real estate investors. So basically, I built software for my own company to use, and then got enough requests that other people needed something similar, so we started providing websites for investors and also a CRM system for contact management, lead management for investors. And those obviously are leadpropeller.com and reimobile.com. But, in doing all this with the podcast, the blog at flippingjunkie.com, and then the software, I guess people... we get so busy with all of this that I stop to think that, there's people that don't really know much about our actual flipping that we do. And we are very active investors, aiming for close to 100 deals this year. And we're posting some more information, some behind the scenes kind of stuff on Instagram. And we'll start doing some more of that on Facebook as well. And you can go to Instagram.com/FlippingJunkie and see some of the properties. And, Melissa does a lot of the design work for the rehabs and takes those real dumps of houses and turns them into beautiful homes. And you can see some of the stuff that we're doing with that. And then we have some pictures from in the office and stuff like that. So you can see where we're at, where all this is going down and how that's all happening. And then we'll be sharing some more of that and answering questions and things like that on Facebook.com/FlippingJunkie. So be sure to like us and, obviously subscribe on iTunes and, follow us on Instagram because we're going to be sharing a lot more of that stuff. And I think that's a lot more of what you guys out there are interested in is finding out, the real world stuff that we're doing. So we love to provide the education, but we also want to, get back to sharing more of what we actually do with our house flipping in San Antonio. So be sure to check those out, Instagram.com/FlippingJunkie, Facebook.com/FlippingJunkie. Please like and follow us and all that kind of good stuff. So thanks for listening, and we'll get started. All right, hey Erik, you there?
Hey, what's going on,
I
Danny?
still do that. You there? It's like we're recording video now. I don't show the video yet, but it's just kind of ridiculous because I'm looking at you looking at me. I'm like, you there? It's like, obviously. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah.
There you go.
Well, thanks for being on the show again. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, you were with us on episode 27, with finding the right contractors. Awesome episode. So I got you
Best
back
one
on.
yet, right?
Yeah, it was the best one to that point. Since then, we've had some better, so you're gonna have to bring your A game on this one.
Oh man! All right.
But today, we talked about the different ones that we've done before already. Most of it's sort of direct mail, so we wanted to cover some of those other things that we hadn't shared so much on the podcast. So you had mentioned Facebook, Bandit signs, newspaper ads, and a bunch of other stuff. So we'll cover whatever we just get into talking about. And
Sure.
And doing that way. Before we do that, though, do you want to share a little bit about yourself for people that didn't hear the other episode?
Yeah, we can do a quick run through. I've been investing in real estate in one form or another since I was probably 20 or 21. I've slowly gravitated into the San Antonio market and then slowly gravitated into the owner finance model, and that's kind of what we've been doing in a very big way over the last, I think it's 6 years now. We've got a full blown operation. We're looking to hit 100 houses this year. I think we're at like almost 80 so far. So we're on pace to do that, which is a huge accomplishment for us. We're just really focusing on the owner finance niche and how to get better and better and better and produce better quality notes and how to find note buyers and things like that. So I still do traditional flipping on the side, and I got a couple of projects I'm working on, but mainly owner finance.
Awesome. Do you guys ever finish that new office?
No, that's a nightmare.
Yeah, that's a big project.
This morning, I had a meeting there at 9 o'clock with the contractors because it's just with the old columns, and we put a new porch on, and the support wasn't right, and they're worried about the whole porch falling in if it's not done right. So we got to rip up the porch and redo that. And I mean, when you start peeling back layers on a house that was built in the 1900s or early 1920, I think is when it was built, somewhere in there. There's just a lot of wild cards, and we've uncovered every single wild card you could think of. So
yeah, it should be cool though when you're done with it. So the story behind that is he got a nearly 100-year-old Victorian house that they're going to rehab and turn into their new office. So that's really cool. So for marketing to get these deals, I know you work a lot with wholesalers, and we've done a couple episodes with working with wholesalers to get deals. And let's start talking about some of those other things, though, the things that people still do to generate deals other than direct mail and stuff like that. And we can start with the newspaper ads, because I think a lot of people sort of discount that these days.
Yeah, it's definitely something that, a lot of people aren't physically buying the newspaper anymore. I mean, I think it'll eventually phase itself out over time. But whenever you buy a newspaper ad, there is an online version of that as well. So it's still something that you want to do. There's not as much competition as there used to be because more people are gravitating to these other items we're going to talk about. So it's an easy way to kind of be the expert in that field if you are that form of marketing. It's not very expensive. You can keep it simple. Just a small ad. We buy houses. And I think you have to pay a little extra to get it online, but I would definitely have it online. And then I think the local newspaper here, you can also, if you do it online, you can also pay to have it where when anyone's going through the newspaper online, it'll do a pop-up ad here and there. I think that's an extra charge. So that's another way to get your name out there. If someone's not specifically looking in the classifieds, you'll have some opportunities there to be seen.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's pretty awesome. When's the last time that you looked in the actual print paper? I guess they only have weekend ones now, right? No, they have it every. But the classifieds are only for the weekend, I think.
I think the classifieds are only for the weekend. I haven't physically looked at the classifieds in a while. I go online if I'm going to look for any. I found some contractors in there, so I haven't bought a physical paper in a long time. I'll just usually go on the phone and go to the local paper on there. And that's where I said that, the pop-up ads and things like that you can pay for. Most people are going to be going on their phone. And so if you're going to do that, definitely pay the extra money to have your ad float around while people are scrolling through and looking at the news and things like that.
Yeah. So what, when you've been online, have you noticed how many people currently use that still?
As far as real estate investors go, there aren't a whole lot. That's what I'm saying. You can get in there and not have a lot of competition. I think it's a market that, or a marketing avenue that a lot of people just kind of dismiss nowadays, and it's still profitable. And I think it's still a good, for the money, it should be part of everyone's investment, marketing campaign.
Yeah. When's the last time you picked up a Southside Reporter or a Thrifty Nickel?
Well, the Southside Reporter is what, we market in off and on throughout the year, depending on our inventory. If things get a little tough, we'll start throwing ads in there. Thrifty Nickel, if I'm down on the south side getting some enchiladas or something, I may grab one just to thumb through. But I haven't really, I have advertised in there. I haven't gotten a ton of results, but I know a lot of people that do advertise for other things besides real estate investing, and they've had great results with it. So, again, it's so cheap. It's got to be part of your campaign.
Yeah, it's been a while since we advertised. We used to do the Thrifty Nickel and Southside Reporter, and I think we were doing just a 1-by-1 ad, and we do a reverse where it's all background of black, and then you have the white We Buy Houses or something on there. Yeah. What do you guys, whenever you do the Southside Reporter, what do you typically do? Do you do a display ad?
Most of that,
just the text ads with like a border or something.
Yeah, just keep it simple. It's all about cost, so we're keeping it low cost, simple. It's just something you put on automatic pilot and forget about. Well, if we can get a yellow and black, we'll do that. I know a lot of those papers don't do color, or color can be quite expensive, and we'll do kind of like what you said, where you either do one or the other, either just a big bold black We Buy Houses or the reverse. But yeah, I would just keep it simple. I mean, you got to realize there's all that text on that paper, and people are going to just be kind of scrolling, and they're not going to take the time to read your ad. You got to have something that catches their eye. So, real big We Buy Houses and a phone number is really all you need. I mean, no one cares about anything else. That's what they want to know. Do you buy houses? Yes. Okay, I'm going to call you. I wouldn't, in my early days, I used to try to get cute with ads and do all different things and have this or that. And it's just, you go back to the simple We Buy Houses and a phone number, and that's what works.
Yeah. So did you ever do the ads with the alien?
I did.
Yeah, the Roz Buys Houses. You don't use that anymore, do you?
I don't. I still have it, and I still have some signs.
I mean, it's good for branding, though. I mean, so I guess that's the trade-off sometimes, yeah.
It worked. It was just one of those things, it's you stop doing it, and then it doesn't become a habit anymore, and you gotta, like you just reminded me, now I'm gonna have to go out and go bust those signs out. You'll be seeing aliens all over San Antonio again.
Yeah, it stands out, and people are like, it got me calling, like, thinking, who is this guy or whatever, but I think you had told me before you did it, but yeah, and I think the key with some of those print newspapers, the Thrifty Nickel and some of the smaller papers, and when we talk about Southside Reporter, Thrifty Nickel, obviously those in American Classifieds, those are like the smaller papers that you find at the grocery stores and stuff like that. And what I would typically do is look and see what kind of ads are already in there, and then try to make my ad, with the background color of black or white or whatever, stand out based on what else is in there. So if everybody's doing that, you don't want to do it.
Exactly.
Try to get some white space, I think, is usually the bigger thing, because it's like a solid block of text. And if yours has white space, it stands out.
That actually brings up another point, is if all the ads are, small little 2 or 3 liners, it may be a good idea to do a double ad or something in there, so that, because people are going to just kind of start skimming over those, and all of a sudden there's a big box ad and then small ones again still stand out there. And then, like you said, just try to differentiate yourself.
Yeah, and there's a military one too, isn't there? Because San Antonio is a big military town, so I think we do have a...
I don't know. I haven't tripped across one.
Yeah, no, I think there is, and obviously with military, you got a lot of relocation, so your, ad could talk about that. So
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think we've tried that in the past. I'm not sure, I don't remember, but so that's newspaper ads. I mean, like he said, we could sit here and come up with different what to say, but like Erik said, it's really just about getting that message that you buy houses out in front of people, and not trying to say a bunch of things that are confusing or that miss the point.
And it's kind of ironic because most of your other advertising that we're going to go over, the idea is to be kind of cute and catchy and things like that. But in the newspaper, it's just a matter of just being simple, just a big block ad with "We Buy Houses" lettering. Whereas when you get into other forms of marketing, especially online, you need something that'll grab their attention, and you can start to kind of have fun and play around with different things, and you can get quote unquote cute with it and have some fun. But the newspaper, I would keep it simple. Now in the newspaper, whenever you have the online part, where it's actually on your phone, you can get a little more creative there, especially in the pop-up ads. If you wanted to get a little more detailed, or because you can do colors, you can do characters and things like that, like cartoon characters or something. Like if you want to do the alien, popping up and then it has "We Buy Houses" or something. That's definitely an idea as well.
Yeah, have you done that before? Do you know how they do that with pricing? Is that for impressions?
It's I don't want to say a price and get held to it. The newspaper is one price, and then to get it online is another price, and then obviously to have it follow around is an extra price. And I do think it's by impressions, or it's you get so many impressions for this much money, and then you're done. But don't quote me on that.
Right. Yeah. So just check with your local newspaper about it. So let's talk about bandit signs. That's always a fun one. And we've got to do the disclaimer that in most places bandit signs are illegal, so definitely check with your municipality and find out, if they look down on the bandit signs. And obviously bandit signs are the signs that go up on telephone poles. You see them all over the place.
The higher the better.
Yeah, the higher the better. So what are some of the tips for bandit signs if you can do them or buy permits for them?
Yeah, you can buy permits. I see a lot of guys doing that nowadays. It is a process. It's a cat and mouse game. You put them out, get them taken down. You can, and there's some guys here locally that have gotten popped for them and paid a big fine. So it's just how risky do you want to be on that? Bandit signs are great. They work great. I think in some areas they're a little oversaturated, and people will tend to just kind of overlook them. I know like on the south side here, like I don't even notice half the signs anymore because they're just everywhere. So you just got to get creative with them, like the alien thing, with the big aliens, something that catches people's attention. Everyone's using the yellow signs with the black writing and red, and I think that's getting a little oversaturated. So be creative. You don't have to put out 1,000 signs. Just find a couple good spots. Everyone goes to H-E-B and Walmart on the weekends, so maybe go out there on a Friday night and pop one in front of there and catch the guys going to the grocery store in the morning. But yeah, I mean, there's a ton of information out there on bandit signs. It's just like whenever we do it, there's times of the month where it seems like every time we turn around, we're getting a call from code compliance wanting us to go take them down, or they're threatening, and then we'll go 6 months without one phone call and the signs stay up. So I guess it just depends on how the city feels about it at that point, how many complaints they've gotten, I guess.
Right, it sort of cycles, right? Like they have their points where they go and crack down, and then other times when they don't, and you don't hear from them. But so, what are your preferred specifics for the bandit sign? So there's a lot of the yellow with the black lettering, and then you have different sizes. Usually, the 18 by 24 versus the half size, which is the 12 by whatever it is. I forget what the size is for. We always use the bigger ones.
Yeah, I mean, we actually don't buy them pre-cut. We buy big sheets, 4x8 sheets. We buy them by the truckload. We use so many signs for the selling side. and then we just cut them. So I find that, if all the signs out there on the streets are perfect, so let's just say they're all 18 by 24 perfect, and, they're just your generic signs, we'll go out there and I purposely don't cut them square. I'll have one side that's 4 inches taller than the other, and, it looks like a kid with a pair of scissors went and cut it for me. And then just, real crazy with the big marker, just, black marker, maybe some red, just right on there. We buy houses. And that tends to help out. What we do is all the houses that we own, we have such a big inventory that we use Bandit signs in front of all of our houses that we own, so we can't get in trouble. And we get a lot of calls off of those. And that's what we do. Just, like I said, just make it, the ugliest sign,
well, it grabs your attention. Yeah.
Like, who cut that god awful thing? But all you're trying to do is catch their eye, and it works. I mean, even do like a circle, and I never even thought about that. But cutting a circle out, I have no idea. It's just getting creative. People, human nature is we get accustomed to things. We're designed to run off our subconscious. We don't think about a lot of things, and as you're seeing a lot of these signs every day, you just get accustomed to them and you ignore them. So you need something to trigger that person's brain to, hey, there's something there, look at it. And we've been able to do that just by making ugly signs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they really do catch your eye too, because I tend to ignore the ones that are, printed in perfect. Mm-hmm. And then the ones that kind of stand out or have like a little bit of branding on it. So it's just some kind of different message or something.
Yeah.
Or something that's a little bit different.
Like an alien?
Like an alien, yeah, that one. I wouldn't do that, though. I don't know. No, but so phone numbers, though, for these things, what are you doing for phone number? I doubt you're putting your actual cell phone number on there.
I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Right. For the buying of houses.
For the buying of houses, yeah, because, there's a lot of competition, and I want to make sure that when that person calls that they're talking to someone and I can get out there as soon as possible to buy it. It can get overwhelming. Sometimes I'll forward it to the office and have, our secretary take care of it. But, typically it's just my cell phone on there. I know that there's a lot of, people out there that have the automated systems, and I think those are good as long as you manage them and, follow up promptly.
Right. Yeah, no, what I was getting at, though, was more of like using Google Voice or something where you have a different phone number and then just having that forward to your cell phone.
We've used Google Voice before, yeah.
Yeah, that way, especially with the city, if they're collecting them all and they've got the same number on all of them, they're going to go after that guy before they go after the one that they only collected, maybe 10 signs from. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know, there was somebody a couple years ago I heard that got popped for those, and it was like $140 per sign, and they had something like 40 signs or something.
It was more, yeah, I think it was more than that. I want to say it was almost a $10,000 fine.
Yeah, it's crazy. So be careful with it.
And I know who it was. I don't know if I want to say their name on, on the podcast, but it was a local company here. They were actually on the news board.
Yeah, well, and it's kind of amazing because there's so many people that do it, and then you only hear about those couple. So I don't know. It could be like they got warned, or they needed to make an example out of them, so they got them. But and there might be more people that just didn't talk about it, so nobody knows.
Yeah,
and that's probably more so the case. But
we got hit once, and we just turned it over to our attorney, and nothing ever came out of it. They just kind of said, "Hey, don't do it again," and we just laid low for a while, and then went back out there and started doing it. But usually, if you're nice with them, whenever they call, I mean, these people don't want to sit there and mess with your signs. What we realized is if you put them on just the wire stands where they can easily just remove them.
Yeah, you don't get as much.
You don't get a lot of calls. If you go and put it 20 feet in the air and they've got to get out of their truck, it's 100 degrees outside, they're sweating, they've got this big old long pole, and they're trying to knock your sign off, they're going to be pissed, and they're going to call that number on there and give you some crap. But, if they can pull up next to it, open their door, and throw it in the back seat, we don't get a lot of riffraff from them. If they do call us, we just apologize and we go pick them up.
Yeah, so you're basically just using the stakes then and putting them in the ground.
Yeah. I used to have the long extension stapler and do them up on the poles, but like I said, it's just we tended to get a lot more angry phone calls rather than just putting them on just the wire stands.
Yeah, yeah. So Yeah, it just reminds me of, I put out one time, I think 4 of them on an exit ramp over there by 10 in New Braunfels, I think. It's like 4 or 5 in a row, just like spaced maybe like 40 yards a piece or something down that exit ramp. And it wasn't but an hour later, I got a call from somebody wanting to sell a house over there. And I went immediately over there. I made an offer, put it under contract for like $8,000 or something, and then had it sold the next day for something like 14. As just a quick flip. A piece of junk property. Obviously, if I bought it for 8.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's nice to have like whenever you put the sign out, you can have a deal done within the next day.
It can happen quick. It really can. And that brings up a point. The staggering effect. We used to do that over on the loop on 1604. We would go. And we would we would stagger them because sometimes, you don't want to put them on a road where there's people are going faster than about 40 miles an hour. I think the thing is 45 miles an hour. They can read it. Anything faster than that, you've got just a fraction of a second, and most of the time they can't read all the way through. So if it's, you don't. Another thing on the Bandit signs, you really don't want to have a bunch of words and everything on there. Again, keep it simple because people are driving. They need to look over, see what you're offering, and a phone number, and they're going to have to try to remember all that while they're driving, or they're going to turn around. So if you can pop a couple signs down the street, they may have been able to read, we buy houses cash, and then the next sign they actually, and then maybe part of your phone number on the first one, and on the next one, a half mile down the road, they end up catching the rest of your number. I know a lot of times I've driven past a sign and I've gotten, halfway through the number and I'm past it. I'm too lazy to turn around and go back and get the rest of it. So I just kept driving. So if they would have had another sign or maybe had less above the phone number, just we buy houses and a phone number, I might have been able to take all that down. So keep that in mind. Don't, if you put them I've seen signs on the side of a highway. You're doing 70 miles an hour or 80. You're not going to be able to read that sign and take a number down. It's just a blur.
Right.
It's just a waste of time. So.
Yeah, and that's why I always focused on intersections where people are stopped at lights for a long time because they have time to sit there, look at it, take it in. And I think with Bandit signs, like any other marketing, where they talk about impressions, so people need to see your message about 7 times or more before they really pay attention to it or decide to do something with it.
Yeah, we can use that and circle back to the newspaper. So let's say someone did pick up and buy the newspaper, they see your ad, but they don't do anything about it. Then they jump on, they heard that, their neighbor, was in a drive-by or something. So they go on the phone later and they're looking at, trying to find that story, and boom, there's your ad again. Now you've made more impressions. So, you do want to have, and then maybe they didn't even do it then, but then they leave their house and they drive down and they see your sign. So, you do want to have a little bit of branding, marketing, and like you said, multiple impressions. Try to, just try to be in front of these people as many times as you can.
Right. Yeah, so that's Bandit signs. It's not really that difficult, and there's websites like supercheapsigns.com. You can look for local companies where you can pick them up, like Erik does. I'm not sure where you get them, but I've done it before, and you just basically search for like Coroplast signs because they're corrugated plastic signs.
Yeah, I think we use Laird Plastics in San Antonio.
Okay, I think I've used Royal over there off of Eisenhower before. Also has those.
Well, it's a lot cheaper. I think we pay like $11 a sheet.
Yeah, for the 4x8.
4x8, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you cut those things up. You're paying, 50 cents a piece by the time you're done, if not less than that. I've never done the math, but we just we'll buy 30 or 40 sheets at a time and just get them delivered to the office.
Nice. All right, so that's Bandit signs, and let's get into the Facebook. So I was curious, I didn't even ask you, but what are you doing on Facebook? Are you doing ads? Are you doing just posts? What are you doing on Facebook?
It just depends on our property load. We've been in business quite a while, so we get a lot of people sending us deals, wholesalers and things like that. And if those aren't panning out, then I'll start moving into the Facebook realm. And I just keep it simple. I'll do just a We Buy Houses post, and then you can boost it for like $40. And you go in there and it breaks down the criteria of, who do you want to target, what areas, things like that. When you can really dial it in. And I'll usually spend the $40, boost it, try to reach 10 or 15, 20,000 people. But again, I keep it simple. Just a banner, just for that box right there. Just we buy houses and a phone number. Cash close in 7 days. I don't really try to get too cute on there as well. Just keep it simple because again, people are just sitting there scrolling through their phone. They're scrolling through Facebook trying to get something that catches their eye, and if it's all just a bunch of text or just boring text, they're not going to stop and read it. You may think it's cool, but they need something, a call to attention. Maybe even you can put on the top, stop. They're scrolling, all of a sudden they see stop. Maybe they stop, and then we buy houses cash, call us. So that's an idea. But
how do you target those for the right people? Because obviously you don't. How are you doing that? Are you just saying like anybody in San Antonio, or do you have criteria that you can set?
No, you can get really dialed in on Facebook. It's crazy some of the stuff they ask. You can go, you can actually go in there and do, okay, I want to sell houses to people that like this TV show or like this TV show or like this, that are in this age group. I think they even have income on there. I don't know how they know that, but then this San Antonio. So I'll do San Antonio age group, and then we typically are buying houses on the south side. Most of that area is majority is Hispanic. So then I will go in there and do some Hispanic radio stations and TV shows. So the people that are in this age group that live in San Antonio that like these pages on Facebook are who will see that, that ad. And that's what works for me.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, so you can kind of determine who you're typically buying houses from.
Exactly.
And so it's sort of the same thing that we went through with direct mail with trying to dial in the demographics, and typically people are mailing to, people over 45 years old and stuff like that. So, yeah, I wonder, if they're able to show income on there and stuff like that. It'd be nice if they started including, whether they own a property, you know what I mean, and having all that kind of info, like how long they've owned it.
Every time I've gone on there and done it, they've added new stuff. So I haven't done it in a couple months because we're pretty flush with properties right now. But I'm sure they're constantly adding more different criteria that you can select. You can narrow it down pretty good.
Yeah. So what kind of what do you think you typically would spend per lead or per deal with this sort of marketing?
Well, Facebook is really cheap. Like I said, you can boost it for about $40 and reach a lot of people. So Facebook, you could probably get away with less than $100 and possibly get lucky enough to snag a house. But usually it's something that you have to put on autopilot, and you're doing, once a day, maybe once every other day, and you can go higher than 40 and you can spend $100 or whatever. But so, I would do it once or twice a week, just depending on the response. It's not very much money, at the end of the day.
It's not expensive to test, right?
No, $400 or $500 a month. You get one deal out of it. That's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah. Do you ever see other people's ads from other investors?
Yeah, Federico. I see him all the time on there. Yeah, he's very consistent. Very consistent. Oh, yeah.
So what kind of...
every day I see one of his ads.
Yeah, what is he posting about?
It's just a big yellow ad that says he buys houses. And it's got some red in it, black. It's very catchy. It's simple. It's clean, and it's consistent. It's something that every day it's there. Every day I'm on Facebook, I'm scrolling through, I see his ad. Every day. Now I would say that he needs to dial in his marketing a little bit better, because I shouldn't be the one seeing his ad, because he targets he targets a different demographic for the houses he buys, but it's consistent.
Yeah, I think he told me he was just targeting you specifically, so throw you off and make you spend a bunch of money on Facebook. But no, I'm just kidding. But so that's awesome. I haven't ever really even tried it, and that's something I think I'm going to start trying though. So, but for other people listening in San Antonio, it doesn't really work. Like Erik said, San Antonio is not a good market for it.
San Antonio at all. It's horrible.
But other than that, go for it. But so you had mentioned too before the show, we talked on the phone just a little bit I think you said Craigslist. Are you doing Craigslist postings?
Yeah, my a guy that works with me, Henry, he does a lot of Craigslist posting, Craigslist ads, and we used to have one of our office ladies just do it consistently. We've kind of gotten away from it. It's one of those things, you just get away from, just like the newspaper, just like Facebook, and you're sitting there going, oh, man, why did we stop doing this? And then you go back into it. But it's so simple to do. We'll just have a generic, ad, and then we just copy it and then just paste it, and then you can just renew it. You just press a button. I think it's every couple of days you can press renew, and it stays in there. We bought a couple houses off of Craigslist. It's not a huge, you're not going to get phone calls all day every day, but it's free, so why not do it?
Right. Yeah.
It's stupid not to do it. It's there. Someone's going to see it.
Yeah, and setting up someone else to keep it up for you so that you're consistent and constantly doing it is the way to go. Because, like you said, most people start but then stop and quit. So,
I think they even offer. I don't know if it's that one or Backpage where you can pay and it'll automatically renew itself.
Yeah, I think Backpage does that. I don't think Craigslist does, but maybe they do.
Yeah.
So, what are you targeting on that? Are you doing specific situations or changing up ads? Are you basically the same stuff? Situations.
Yeah. Just simple.
We buy houses.
Well, I'll do on Craigslist. I'll do two. I'll do one where it says behind on payments. Don't lose your house, things like that. And the other one is just straight. We buy houses cash. And then sometimes I'll throw one in there where it says we assume payments, just to try to see if we can find someone that's fixing to go in foreclosure or something like that. That's kind of desperate out there looking for anyone that can help them. But mainly just that we buy houses is what I traditionally do consistently.
Yeah. And so, I've heard of, basically doing different ads for different people, because different people respond to different messages. So, one is sort of someone that doesn't understand how it is that people advertise We Buy Houses, what it's all about. So it's more of an explanation of like, here's what this is. Mm-hmm. This is why we do this. This is how we do this. And they'll be a little bit more open to it. And then there's some people that just see the We Buy Houses, they have a situation, and they don't really care. They just call and want to find out. And so it's just approaching things from different angles for different people to get more response.
Another thing is, like I said, our demographic that we're buying houses from is typically the Hispanic neighborhoods. And so a lot of these ads that I'm talking about, we'll do them in English and Spanish. So if you are, advertising in areas where there is, a different language, then you definitely want to have your ads in that language as well. And that seems to help. I think like in the Southside Reporter and the Green Sheet or whatever that thing's called, we ran those in Spanish only and got a lot more response than the English side.
Yeah, see, I would run it, and then I would only be able to speak English when they called, and so it'd be a problem.
Well, you got to expand your horizons. You got to learn. Get some Rosetta Stone.
Well, I can understand a lot. I just can't speak it, so it's kind of difficult.
You just be cussing at them. That's all you know, right? Cuss words?
No, I don't even know those. But actually, I should know them, right? Because from you, but no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so this is real helpful. We talked about the newspaper ads, Bandit signs, Facebook, which I want to give a try and do more of that stuff, and then some Craigslist ads. And really, if you're struggling with what to write for Craigslist ad, why not just go to other cities and look for real estate wanted section, see what other people are doing, and just do the same thing, add your twist to it. But you don't have to sit there and be completely unique for this kind of thing. It's not really necessary.
And you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
A lot of things, find what works and copy it, if you will. Put, like you said, put your spin on it. Your own little flair, but if it works, it works. I mean, look at Yeti came out, and then right behind it, Arctic. I've got an Arctic cooler right here behind me, right behind the computer. It was $100 less. They didn't go out and reinvent the wheel. They just made the same product a little bit better and a little bit cheaper. And so, I mean, just find something that's working and put your own spin on it.
Yeah, nice. All right, so Erik had just released a book. It was Stop Flipping, Stop Renting. What is that about?
It's only in Spanish though, so you probably can't read it.
No, it's not Spanish only.
It's,
But why are you trying to tell people you just don't want the competition? Is that what it's about? Don't.
What's that?
It's stop flipping because you're trying to.
Spanish, so you can't read it. It is. It's a book that Mike and I wrote. It took us about 3 years. It was a big project. It was something that was on our goal list for a long time, and it lays out, the entire owner finance. How we do it. We do it a little different than other people. We've been really successful at it, and we just kind of lay out from start to finish how you can create notes, how you can leverage those notes, so you don't have to use a lot of your own money, how to find private investors, and obviously how to find houses, how to rehab houses, wholesale. We go through all the different buying and selling, investment strategies. But it's just a very detailed book on the owner finance business model. We had a lot of people calling us and asking us how do we do it, and there's just not a lot of information out there that shows you or that teaches you how to create a note. There aren't very many good books, if you will, that lay it all out. So we laid everything out on the table. We didn't pull any punches, and it's all in the book. And then we're following that up with an education course that'll be coming out probably the next 60 days or so, an online video course, if you will, that goes even more detail. And actually we physically go out to the houses and show you, how to do this, how to do that. We go over paperwork, things like that.
Awesome. And that book is not just about the notes, because you also cover marketing.
Oh yeah.
And mindset, motivation, everything. See, both of us strongly feel that people that succeed learn to have the right mindset to succeed. And usually when we're together, we're talking about Jim Rohn quotes and stuff like that. So it's, so he's got the same sort of beliefs that I do. And check out the book. It's awesome. And we'll have a link to it on the show notes page at FlippingJunkie.com/49. And then you also provided that free chapter, right? So I'll have a link for that too. So if you go to FlippingJunkie.com/49. Then if you want to go to his website and check that out, it's stopflipping.com. And I thought he set that up just for me because he wanted me to stop flipping in San Antonio, taking all of the deals so he doesn't get any. But it's not. So. All right, Erik. Well, I appreciate you being on the show. And is there any other place that you want for people if they're looking for you, want to talk to you? Is there
we have, we've got some free videos and education on the notefactory.com. People can go to if they want to, but most of everything is going to be on the stopflipping.com website. There are a couple of, there's actually a calculator course, how to use a financial calculator course on the notefactory.com that's free and very, very, very informative. And if you're going to get into the note game, you really need to understand how to use a financial calculator. So that may be a good resource for your listeners. Definitely.
Yeah, so check that out, the notefactory.com. And I'll have a link to that also in the show notes page. I'm just trying to take notes real quick. But, I appreciate it once again, Erik. And
always a pleasure.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed the episode, and like I said before, be sure to follow us on Instagram. Go to Instagram.com/FlippingJunkie and check out Facebook.com/FlippingJunkie and find out a little bit more about what we're actually doing and what we do for these flips and more about the business. So hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week.